Can somebody educate me on why there's Black Americans that don't know where they're from, like their ethnicity and stuff? Like,
America is not a white country. America has never been a white country. Just because you associate America with whiteness and prosperity does not mean that Black people and Native Americans are not from here. Black Americans are not immigrants and have never been immigrants. Black American, African American is our ethnicity because that ethnogenesis evolved here in the continental United States at the same time that all the other ethnicities developed in the Caribbean and Latin America. Are you with me? Does that make sense to you here?
I don't want to be weird, but I feel like the only reason why these Africans is making fun of black people so bad is because they wanted to get on the ship and come over here. Like, I just don't understand genuinely. And I'm not trying to say that to be funny, but like, come on now. Like, it's gotta be true because, like, why are y'all attacking black people so much? Why are y'all attacking us so much? Just because we don't, like, the way that we identify ourselves in America is different than what y'all think that we should be called. And then when we call ourselves African American or we call ourselves black, it's a problem to Africans because they don't think that we should be saying African, for one, because they're like, no, y'all don't come from over here either, because y'all don't know where y'all originated from. And it's like is that like a African thing where y'all just like bully somebody? Like we come from America because we were born here and our recent ancestors came from America. Just like in Canada, if somebody is a person of color in Canada, their origins, their recent ancestor came from Canada. So they're Canadian, even though they are darker complected and they look like an African American or they look like an African, and their origin was from you know what I'm saying. Their recent ancestor came from Canada. Then they're Canadian. And if they were born in Canada, they're Canadian. And it's like, if you tell an African anything like that and their origin is from Africa, it's a problem. It's a genuine problem. And I think it's just a lack of understanding at this point because there's so much confusion. And it's like, you're African because you live in Africa. Just like a full-blown Caucasian person that has ancestors that were living in Africa and they are Caucasian and they live in South Africa, they are African. It is what it is. But I think it's just a lack of communication, though. I really do. And I think they want to come over here like they really wish that they were starting to live over here for centuries and they just want to do that. But I don't know.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Prime Pause. So on today's news, there's been a lot of back and forth about African immigrants seeking Black Americans do not know where they are from, do not know their heritage, do not know their identity, you know. And it's been crazy going on because Black Americans have been trying to make it clear that they know where they're from, they know their identity, they know um their ancestors, that they can trace back their ancestors if they wanted to, that they've heard stories about their ancestors, and they've been told a lot of things, and they have evidence to back these claims up. So a lot of them will be like, we know our parents know their grandparents know their great grandparents, and all that. But African immigrants are still bent on saying that Black Americans do not know where they are from. And right now, it's been a case of back and forth. It's been a case of debates because Black Americans are not ready to back down because are saying it for a fact that they are aware of where they are from. Anyways, I'm going to let the rest of the videos play out so we can hear from them and we can know what other people have to say about this. And then we'll come back and listen to, and read the comments, and then we can discuss about this some more. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, because and also comment, because I'd like to know your thoughts in the comment section. All right, guys, let's watch and then we'll come back. Thank you.
I'm trying to figure out how to say this as nicely as possible, but Africans, what is the obsession with Black Americans, right? Because there's grievances on many different levels: education, money, where you're from, what language do you speak. I've come to the conclusion that all of the questioning and the BS is coming from y'all side. What is going on? Where you guys just can't understand that we're not immigrants. You don't understand that we can't be deported from America. You don't understand that we've been here for 490, almost 500 years. We don't have nowhere else to go. This is where we're from. We're not going anywhere either. And our government doesn't want to kick us out of this place neither. I'm trying to understand genuinely why it upsets some of you that I cannot be deported, right? Why does it upset you that I have not experienced what you've experienced on your journey from pick one of the 54 countries all the way up until you got to America or Europe? You guys are right worrying about shit that you shouldn't be worried about. I'm not you and you're not me. I'm a real nigga and you're not. You're African. I'm part of the group who leads the world in culture. That's my ethnicity. That's my group of blacks. You should worry about what your group is going through, where your group has to go. The same way that Black Americans don't think twice about a single fucking African. And I say that with all due respect. We don't think about you guys. We don't think about anything that's going on over there. But you do have Africans who are in Africa right now, in one of those 54 countries with a fucking, what's them phones called? With an Android, watching our every fucking move. Not only watching, but critiquing. You guys are worried about the wrong things. We're not immigrants. We can't be deported. We are American. We're not going anywhere. Stop hating on us, please.
Y'all want to know what's funny? This is some funny shit. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. This is funny. They say we don't know our parents, yet we know who our mothers are. They say we don't have no language, but we all understand each other. Except for them. We don't understand them. And if everybody was from Africa, why the fuck didn't they keep their accent? Shouldn't we all be walking around boom tongue on tongue chong? Muba, 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 to moo. I'm from Uganda. I'm from Uganda. Like, shouldn't we all be walking around like with some type of accent if we all from Africa? Like, when did we all ever have like arranged marriages? Black Americans don't know who they are, but we know our people. We know our people. We speak English. We speak English. And depending on where you're from, that is the accent that we go by. Like, for instance, I'm from Detroit. When a person from the South hear me, they know I'm automatically from the Midwest. When I hear a person from California, I automatically know they Californian. When I hear a person from Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Louisiana, I know they from Louisiana. Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, I know they from the South. I even know if you from the country of the South. Oh, we know each other. Oh, we know. So if we came from Africa, wouldn't we have some type of connection to want to go back home? Because I know in those movies, they be wanting to go back home after they get freed, and they actually go back home, or they go to London. We want to stay here because this is where our ancestors are from. But they tricked us and said we don't have no culture. We don't know our language. This is our language. They got to be jealous of something. It was them all along.
One thing that I do have that a lot of Black Americans don't have is a sense of knowing where you come from. So I do take pride.
I want y'all to stop saying this expeditiously, please. Black Americans know where they're from, America, and that is okay. It is more than enough to be from America. We are our own ethnic group. We have our own language, AAVE, food, culture, music, all the things that make you an ethnic group. If a person claims to be from Jamaica, you don't question that. You accept that answer, which is ironic because guess what? Black people are not native to the island of Jamaica. In fact, their ancestors came to that island at the same time that my ancestors came to America. But because we are a minority in this country, you dismiss our contributions to the culture and the American fabric. We are part of this country and how we built it. We built it for free, first of all. And when we start saying these things, y'all, we are dismissing the Black American contribution. You are implying that our roots here are not very strong. If a white person tells you that I'm American, you don't question that either. You don't say, but where in Europe are you from? You accept that. Accept our answer as well. The part that I want people to hone in on is that There's a part of this country that is always trying to undercut the history and the contributions of Black Americans. And so that we as other cousins in the diaspora should not feed into that. It is the same, it's the other side of the coin of saying, go back to Africa where you're from, when my ancestors built this country. So I want us to be okay with answers like, I'm from America, by way of Tennessee, Mississippi, Missouri. Those answers are enough.
The foundational Black American story is one of the greatest ever told. Resistance, resilience, and reimagining. And baby, that's the gag. We didn't just survive. We authored that shit. We are the blueprint. Full stop. Now here's the problem. Folks love to play in our faces with that tired ass question. Where are you from? No, really, where are you from? As if the word American only belongs to white people. Because for them to admit that we shaped this country through our own resistance and destiny, that would shatter the very foundation of their belief in white supremacy. Baby, that's why they come at us sideways. Because deep down, they can't fathom how we survived slavery, Jim Crow, and systemic oppression, and still created a culture that the whole world copies. That confusion turns into jealousy. That jealousy turns into disrespect. Let me be crystal clear. We don't need their validation. Black Americans are the blueprint because I'm American. My family is from North Carolina, mom and dad. And I can't tell you the number of times I get asked that dumbass question. Where are you from? No, really, where are you from? North Carolina, generations deep. Because I'm not about to do Olympic level ancestry to make somebody else feel comfortable. Ain't it funny how nobody asks white Americans where they're really from? But let a Black American say I'm American and somehow it's like the Wi-Fi cut out. The manufactured confusion. What they don't understand is our story is layered. African roots, European ancestry, not by choice. Native connections. And it all converges right here in the United States of America. That's our reality. That's our identity. And that's exactly why some of them are jealous. They can't wrap their heads around how we carried and still carry the weight of oppression and still became the cultural heartbeats of this nation. Music, fashion, innovation, style, language, and I could go on, but I'm not. We set the tone every single damn time. So the next time someone tries to play in your face and say Black folks have no culture, no values, here's the list, baby. Family, liberty, justice, God, creativity, and survival. Those are our values. That's our culture. We are who we say we are and who they wish they could be, but never will. We are American. Full stop.
There's a long pattern of people across the diaspora mocking Black Americans for not knowing where we're from, as if that isn't a direct result of transatlantic slavery, as if that erasure was by choice. Furthermore, despite the disconnection, Black Americans have created rich culture that is influential, that is powerful, so powerful and people bite it while constantly trying to diminish it. Then you have Mona Leo, who drops Sexy So Long. The song is specifically for people of that lineage, people whose roots tie back to their enslaved ancestors here. People whose grandparents and great-grandparents grew up during Jim Crow and the Great Migration and set roots here specifically. And that distinct identity created music, dialect, aesthetics, language, food, experiences that are unique to our culture specifically. She's saying Sexy So Long, she's talking about that experience, not just everything under the Pan-African umbrella. And this is so important because when people from elsewhere within the diaspora have discussions about Black Americans, one critique that constantly comes up as a gotcha is we are disconnected from our culture. We don't have a culture. We have no real identities. Black Americans built one. So not only is the statement inaccurate and ignorant, it's dishonest. Same people who say this constantly use AAVE, constantly sample and listen to our music, constantly emulate our style from fashion and aesthetic, constantly cook our food, aspire to have our swagger. It really is important. Y'all want the output while constantly denying the origin, and that's just not gonna fly. Black Americans didn't lose our culture. We made one under new conditions, under conditions a lot of people didn't have to face. One that's full of its own rich food and language and spiritual practices, that has its own rich history. So yeah, all the non-blacks to the back. What's confusing about that?
So, Black Americans have really, 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 really been trying so hard to educate the African immigrants and about their identity, about their heritage, about their what's it called, ancestors, about where they are from, literally. And a lot of them have written in the comments. So let's read the comments and then we know what they're saying. So someone said, saying Black Americans don't know who we are because slavery disrupted our lineage isn't the insult you think it is. It's actually proof of what we survived. Our identity wasn't erased, it was forged. We built culture from the ashes of genocide, forced migration, and laws designed to break us. Jazz, blues, gospel, hip hop, soul food, civil rights movements, those didn't come from confusion. They came from people who knew exactly who they were despite everything stacked against them. Knowing the name of a village is not the only measure of identity. Okay, the next person said, you know where you're from because your ancestors stayed on the land. Ours were stolen from it. That difference isn't a moral failure on our part. It's a historical crime. And instead of empathy, some of you will turn that trauma into a superiority complex. Black Americans didn't lose identity. We created a new one under the most brutal conditions imaginable. That identity then helped open doors for every Black person who came after this country, including immigrants. Aha. Next person said, it's funny how African Americans are told we don't know where we are from, but the entire world consumes our culture daily. Our music, slang, fashion, political movements, copied globally. If we were so lost, why does everyone keep finding themselves in what we created? Identity isn't just ancestral records, it's shared memory, struggle, language, acts, and resilience. And we have all of that in abundance. Someone else said, what some African immigrants don't understand is that Black American identity is not accident. It's a nation within a nation. It's a nation within a nation. We are an ethnic group formed by law, violence, and survival. We can trace Ghana or Nigeria on a map. We can trace Jim Crow reconstruction, the Great Migration, mass incarceration, and the civil rights movement. That history is just as real, just as rooted, just as deep. Someone else said, instead of asking Black Americans don't know which tribe we came from. Ask why America made sure we wouldn't. Ask why records were destroyed, families split, languages banned, names stripped, and then ask why after all that we still stand. Turning historical trauma into mockery doesn't make you more African. It just makes you complicit in the same disrespect Europeans used against all of us. Someone else said, a lot of this talk sound like colonial thinking recycled, measuring what by pro- proximity to pure origins is exactly what white supremacy taught the world. Black Americans don't need validation by bloodline charts. We know who we are because we lived it. Our grandparents lived it. Our bodies carried it. You don't get to define our identity just because you crossed an ocean voluntarily while ours were chained. That's deep. Someone else said, if Black Americans truly had no identity, we wouldn't be the backbone of every major racial justice movement in this country. We wouldn't be the ones who sacrifices, changed laws, opened universities, and expanded rights, benefits immigrants work into the benefits immigrants work into the movement by land. The identify isn't the identity isn't about knowing where your ancestors started. It's about knowing what they endured and what you're responsible for continuing. Okay, guys. So, as I said, a lot of Black Americans have been trying too hard to let the African immigrants know that for sure they know where they come from, and even if they are going to say that Black Americans do not know where they come from, they didn't it's not by choice. It isn't like other immigrants who can come into America voluntarily, but them they didn't come in voluntarily. But for as long as it has to do with where they are from, their identity, for sure they are from America. They are Black Americans because their ancestors lives there, and they know their ancestors, and they can trace back the ancestors if they wish to. Anyway, guys, please do let me know what you think in the comment section because I like to know your thoughts. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, all right, remain to the original creators of these videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.